Okay, Steph, once you're in the upside down, Derek is going to follow you with a car and hopefully text you his radio signal. And at that time, he'll flip. Is everyone ready?
Ready.
This is Still Stranger Scroll. Well, wait, hold on. What did we do? We didn't decide on a name. Okay, Still Stranger Scrolling. What do we?
Stranger Scrolling.
We'll
Which
figure it
sounds
out in
like
post. We'll figure it out in post.
Still Stranger.
Oh my gosh. If you haven't heard, this is Still Scrolling, Stranger Things Spoiler Edition. Welcome to the show. I'm one of your hosts, Justin.
I am the second of the host, Derek.
Host number 3.
Steph, are you okay? Are you good? Do you want to explain to the viewers about why your background is so different, or do you want to keep it a mystery?
Steph is a mess.
Yeah, what happens when we record at 10 a.m. and not 12 p.m. So.
Whoa. Why are you exposing us like that?
Yeah, my PC upstairs in my office kind of ate shit a bit with the disk space, so I'm on my Mac desktop downstairs in my bedroom. So
It's cool. It's cool.
See.
Your other computer went to the upside down, and that's fine.
Yeah, really.
It's okay, because today on this episode of Still Scrolling, we are devoting the entire episode to Stranger Things coverage, because season 5, episodes 1 through 4, released last Wednesday, I believe, and now all 3 of our hosts have had a chance to watch it, digest it, and use the guts of the story. Goop it out.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that too. And now we are going to give you our thoughts, our theories, and all kinds of stuff right now. So just so you know, we aren't spoiling the show immediately. We'll have a clear indicator of when the spoilers are going to start. So just in case you haven't seen all 4 episodes, there'll be a clear red sign, probably in Russian or something, that will say, get out while you still can. And then we'll go deep into the characters and the story of Stranger Things Season 5. So first things first, we've all seen all 4 episodes. What did we think? I'll start off with Derek, because we both have our Stranger Things hats on. Steph forgot her Stranger Things hat.
I don't have the privilege of owning a Stranger Things hat.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But Derek, initial thoughts on this drop of episodes?
It's fine.
Interesting. Okay.
I tend to sound cynical and upset when I critique things sometimes. I don't think it's by any means a bad half a season, but it is feeling a little bit like season 8 of Game of Thrones, where they're just trying to power through it, wrap everything up. You know, this, that, and the other happened. Then there you go, the end. Here's your finale. And again, I think it's fine. I'm having a good time watching it. But Noah Schnapp's acting has me feeling a little bit like he is, like they built up to who has a better story than Bran the Broken, like in Game of Thrones, where they kind of just disappointed everybody with that. Like, that's how I feel about it. Not that I don't like Will as a character. I just think the older he got, the worse he got at acting. So it just, it was rough. But aside from that, that's like my biggest critique. It's very general. It's very overall. You know, the show is not supposed to be this, piece of cinema, and, it's not supposed to be like this high fidelity, high quality art piece, right? So it is what it is, right? Like, it's a fun show. I'm having fun with it. So mission accomplished on that part. No complaints, no real complaints, really.
Okay, Steph, initial thoughts about this 4 batch of episodes?
I had a good time with them. I didn't feel like that there was any filler space in any of these episodes. It kind of felt like the story is moving along all the time, which I like a lot. I thought some of the dialogue was pretty interesting, but then you gotta remember it's like the 80s, and so everything is supposed to be kind of like corny. I remember watching this video of someone going over like some of the dialogue in some of the episodes and like the whole like dick joke. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Those are kind of cringe, but it's the 80s, so a lot of things were cringe.
And they're kids.
And they're kids. They're high
Robin's an
schoolers, so.
adult. Whoa, spoilers. We're not.
No. Robin one was kind of funny.
The Robin one was funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers, guys. What are we doing?
I thought we said we were going to spoil it.
Yeah.
Later.
These are non-spoil. Okay. Well, Well, those are my initial thoughts. I thought the 4th episode was probably the best out of the 3, out of the 4, um, just because everything that happens.
Interesting. I think you guys are way off base. This season is
I didn't
gas.
say anything bad! I didn't say anything
Okay,
bad! I thought
okay,
it was
okay.
good!
Okay, here's the thing. Like maybe I'm like a little too hype on it because I ranked my Stranger Things seasons on Threads the other day, and here's how I view before season 5. It goes season 1, best season. Second best, season 4, then
Mhm.
3, then 2 in my
Yeah,
opinion, right?
I have to
Yeah.
agree on that.
Season 5 is taking the energy of season 4 and just like plussing it, and like things are like it feels like forward driven, and maybe because it's the end of Stranger Things, but it's really picking up the pace of like things are happening, they're not wasting time, right? And stories are starting to reach their natural conclusion, right? So it feels much more satisfying, right? I think Stranger Things as an entity kind of became a meme of itself after, like, during season 3 and onwards. In that,
Mhm.
I don't know if this makes any sense, but there was season 1 of Stranger Things, which seems like a complete thought, beginning, middle, and then a complete thought. Season 2 felt like, well, I guess if you want more, here's what we think would happen. And
Mhm.
then it feels as though the powers that be was like, no, Stranger Things need to be capital S, an entity. We have callbacks and like characters themselves being like, this always happens, right? You know what I mean? You're the one who does this. And like that's when the flanderization starts to set in a little bit. Like characters start to be a little bit more funnier than usual, than they weren't that funny, or things are treated as a joke. The writers are
Mhm.
starting to listen to Twitter a little bit more, or they're more aware of the online conversation. So they're planting things that they hope will be viral things, or costuming that's like, I know people are going to wear this for Halloween, and that's when season 3, 4, 5, right? But with this season, I really enjoyed it because all the characters are more or less together. You know what I mean? No one's split up for like very silly reasons. No one's weirdly in Russia, right? And I'm having it's pretty good. Like all the cylinders are firing for me. But it's interesting that you guys aren't as having a good time as me, which is very
I'm having a
interesting.
good time. I literally
Yeah, we're
said I
having a
had a
good
good
time.
time.
Derek hates
I
Stranger
think
Things.
I think it's for me it's one of those things where it's like there's moments where I have to resuspend my disbelief, which
Mm.
hasn't happened to me with any of the other seasons, even season 2, right?
Really? In
So,
season 4, you didn't have to suspend your disbelief
uh,
that Joyce and Murray had to break Hopper out of a Russian prison?
yeah, well, I don't have season 4 that high up. I think I don't know. The only
Oh,
season I know for sure in my ranking is season 1. I think that is the best season. Um I think season 5 has potential to be number 2. 2, 3, and 4, I think, have really good moments throughout all of them. But uh, they're not as solid as number 1. Which I have a theory that when the first season of a TV show is the best season, that is an indicator that it probably should have had less seasons.
what?
Right? Yeah,
No.
I think
What?
so. Yeah.
What?
Hmm.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
or different seasons rather, right? Like they approached season 1, like you said, as a complete thought, and
Hmm.
then they approached season 2 with how do we do 4 seasons more?
Right.
And that's what I think. That's where I think things suffered a little bit because they were trying to just do so much of a slow burn over time, and then now it took them however long it took them to wrap things up and give us this final season, and they're trying to wrap all of that up in what 8 episodes. Or so it's just kind of, even if they are longer episodes, like that's almost like to a detriment, right? Because now
Mm.
you're sitting for an hour and a half at a time watching an episode of TV, and that it's weird. It's messing with the way that you traditionally watch a TV show. So it's just kind of messing with me.
Interesting. Okay. I think we've said enough about our initial thoughts. For those of you that are going to tune out after this point, Can we get a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this part of Stranger Things? I'm going to give this a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
So far, so good. So, if you haven't seen Stranger Things season 5 yet, this is the part where we start spoiling it. So, get ready. You have been warned. Time for special viewers unit. So, first things first, let's start off with talking about this show character by character. And I think no better character to start off with the star of the show, 11 herself, Millie Bobby Brown. We find 11 training in like a
Hold
little
on.
superhero outfit.
Quick
What?
correction. It's Millie Bonnie Bon Jovi now.
My God.
She changed it.
She did change it. I did
Yeah.
have that mental thought when the credits were going. I was like, oh, she did get married. Oh, wait, she has a kid and
Yeah.
she's younger than
Yeah.
me, which is
Yeah.
insane. Like, I will say this. I think it's interesting that she changed her name when like most actors or actresses will keep their stage name, but she like changed her name completely. So I thought that
Yeah.
was very interesting.
You know what's
That's
funny
very
as
cool.
well is that in SAG, no two artists, actors can have the same name because you basically like register your name on SAG. So like
Mhm.
Millie Bobby Brown, that was her name that she started with, right? So no one else could have that name. And then
Right.
she imagine like if she wanted to change her name and like, oh no, can't change it because Millie Bonnie Bon Jovi's already taken, then she wouldn't be able to take it, right?
That is interesting, but I think that she came to act. She's like, this is the part where I get my Emmy. I think that's what's going on in her head because this 11 is much more serious. She talks in complete sentences now, but she's not meaner, but she has a mission. We find that Millie Bobby Bon Jovi, or 11, is training so that she can infiltrate either the Russian base, not the Russian base, but the army base that has been stationed on Hawkins, and she's going to take down Vecna once and for all. When it comes to her arc in these 4 sets of episodes, I think the writers said, we have to go with our bread and butter, and that is Hopper and 11. And
Mhm.
I've completely enjoyed their time together because they spend a lot of time in the Upside Down, actually hashing out not their issues, but how they actually feel about each other. Hopper clearly sees 11 as one of his daughters, not a replacement daughter, but just one of his daughters. And by the end, when 11 frees 8, spoiler by the way, and Hopper almost blows himself up for no reason, which is a whole other discussion. But I think she's ready to take down Vecna by the end of this episode. So, Steph, what did you think of 11 in this batch of episodes?
I thought this is probably like the best version of her we're seeing just because it's kind of like she's grown up now, right? So she's had this time to get into who she's meant to be. And I feel like for her character growth, she's in a good place right now. And by the end of the season, we're going to see probably like her peak, like best part of herself. Really hope like she doesn't die or anything or doesn't sacrifice herself with some shit like that. Because that would all this would be for nothing if she does that in the end. But I think we're gonna see a lot more of her, a lot more of what she can do. I feel like she's got more power than we think. And that could be
Interesting.
just like power that she has like like power, or just like some type of like mental power. Like, it's not like actual like powers that she has, but it could be like power in her mentality or physicality or something like that. So I'm excited.
Interesting. I will say, I think this is my prediction for the rest of 11's arc. I think we may have reached the peak of her abilities and the peak of her story. That might sound mean, but I don't mean it to, in that, like, I don't think there's any more ground to cover that I'm interested in with 11. In that we already know her backstory from what happened to her mom, her relationship with Dr. Brenner, and her relationship with Hopper. I don't know if there's any more to say about 11 after season 5. So I have a feeling that maybe, not that she'll die, but maybe she'll like be stuck in the Upside Down. Like I don't know
Oof.
where else to go because like she seems pretty wrapped up, to be honest with you. Like after Vecna's gone, I don't see her sticking around. what do you think about 11 and her arc in these batch of episodes?
I think they've done a really good job with Eleven's character. And quick side note, the whole Lily Allen drama with Hopper,
Lily
with the
Allen?
actor that plays Hopper, David Harbour, they were married and they got divorced. And it turns
Oh,
out
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
Lily
like a
Allen.
sexual deviant and all
Oof.
that, right?
Oof.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the whole thing.
That whole like bad press that he was getting, that's gone. Like that's
I
a
have
thing of
not
the
even
past
heard
at
of
this
it.
point.
That just proves it.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
not heard of that.
yeah. Yeah, she released an album and everything.
Who was the
But
girl?
he did such a good job. Lily
Lily
Allen?
Allen is David Harbour's ex-wife. Long story short, because I don't want to get into like people's business, but they were married, and they had an open marriage. The rules of the open marriage was as long as David Harbour pays for it and it's no one they personally know, then it's no big deal. And then apparently David Harbour broke that rule. His wife Lily Allen got mad. They divorced, etc., etc. And then much later, someone came to the press and was like, David Harbour has been accused of bullying children on the set of Stranger Things. And
Nah,
turns out it was untrue, or at least if it was true, it happened in like season 1, and that's it. So
yeah. Yeah, it was
that's
like a
about it.
complaint. They talked to him, it got wrapped up. Like, it wasn't as big of a deal as the press was making it. The point is, he had like a rough couple of weeks in the press there leading up to the premiere, but I think his performance on this alone is and the hype around the show just kind of made all that bad press kind of irrelevant at this point. I think 11 also has done a good job. The character has become a well-adjusted young woman, right? She expresses herself clearly. She thanks David Harbour when he lets her do whatever it is in the mission, and then she's like, "Thank you for trusting me," right? Like the dynamic between them two is finally reached like a healthy father-daughter relationship. Her character, I think, what they're leading up to, and I'm sure we'll talk about this much later when we talk about Will and Mike, but I think they're just kind of leading this towards a happily ever after with 11. Like, she finally gets to be normal, right? Like, she finally gets to live her life as a normal person in Hawkins, right? And with her and Mike, and they have their little, what is it? Happy ending,
Happy ever
right?
after?
Yeah, happily ever after. And I don't think any of the kids in particular are going to be the ones to die. I think
Yeah.
if somebody dies, it's going to
Interesting.
be it'll be one of the older kids, or like a Joyce, right, or a Jim Hopper type of scenario. As long as it's not Derek, I'm fine. I don't care who dies.
We'll get to Derek in a minute. Oh gosh, delightful Derek, maybe the star of the show. But the thing is, I do want
Yeah.
to point out with specifically with 11 is that with her conversation with Mike on top of the radio station, Mike makes a Lord of the Rings reference where, like, in the end of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Frodo, because of all, he's like embattled and stuff like that. He's been stabbed by some ghostly knife. It's hard for him to return back to normal, right? And so he's gonna go off to the Grey Havens. I think 11 is also off to the Grey Havens. I don't think that she can be normal at this point. Like there is no
Mhm.
going like back to a normal life. And speaking of a
Right.
normal life, let's talk about another character, David Harbour's Jim Hopper, which technically is dead. Like by all accounts is like his character is supposed to be dead because he quote unquote died in the mall explosion. That's the
Hmm.
story that they went with. And he has been in hiding ever since, which is one of the reasons why I think his character is doomed, because I don't think he can come back.
No.
He can't go back to work. Everyone thinks that he's dead. And I think Stranger Things is still trying to do the thing where we're like, yeah, this is a thing that could have happened, except there is a portal in the middle of town square. But Derek, what did you think of Hopper in these 4 sets of episodes?
He always does good, right? Whether it's like Red Guardian or this, even that Santa Claus movie that he did,
Forgot about
you know,
that.
he does a really good job at being that like paternal figure. It is a little weird the way he was just like, I'm gonna go suicide bomb myself.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Like
made
that
me
was kind
think
of
like
like,
he's not gonna last.
yeah,
he's
like that was
trying
kind
to
of
die.
out of left field. I do think that he might be a little doomed in general, and I think that's so we see 11 training, and we see her in her Goonies Josh Brolin outfit, right? Rocky jogging outfit that she's wearing, which is absolutely like a Halloween costume
Oh, for sure.
choice, right? And we see her kind of just developing her physical stats, right? She's not really elevating her. She's using her powers to do the obstacle course, and we see her use her powers in different ways this time around for
Right.
sure. But I don't think we've seen that take another step yet. I think he dies, and that's kind of her way of like going ham at the end of it all, right? And then
Mm.
maybe that's what you're saying, that she ends up in the upside down, or she ends up maybe not back to normal. I think she's just going to kind of let loose, and she's just not going to have powers, and she will literally be normal by the end of it all, because Hopper's death will take her to that point where that's what it takes to defeat Vecna or the Mind Flayer, right? Depending on who ends up being the real bad guy here. Um, so I think his character this season is really just serving as a catalyst for whatever's about to happen.
Interesting. I do want to make a note that I thought it was really funny. Apparently, this is the season where he was also filming Thunderbolts. It's so he had a beard for a lot of the upside down filming stuff. And then he went to go film Thunderbolts. He shaved, and then they had to do reshoots on the outdoor portions with 11 training. And so they had to give him a fake beard. Which I think is just very funny. I was like, damn, like just keep the beard at that point.
Yeah.
But I also think it's interesting that they didn't keep him skinny. He was very skinny in season 4, but like no, they wanted normal sized Hopper again, which I thought was very interesting.
They wanted Dad Bob Hopper.
Yeah, I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dad bod.
Also, I think it's interesting. I was like, because at the end of Thunderbolts in the post-credit scene, I don't know if you guys remember this. I remember thinking to myself, oh, wait, he looks thinner than usual because he has that like NASCAR suit on at the end of I don't know if you remember that. And throughout the movie, he's like his usual, not like kind of dad bod fat kind of role. But in the end credits, I was like, oh, he lost some weight. And it turns out like he was like bouncing between this and Stranger Things. Is very funny to me. But anyways, David Harbour, you look great. I promise. You'll be fine. He's a goner.
You'll be fine. He's a goner.
100% goner. I think, speaking of goners, I think it's time to talk about a character who has, I think, nothing to do this season, Joyce.
Yeah.
I think this season's not mean to Joyce, but did we all forget that she was the main driving force of getting Will back? One of them. Like, put some respect on her name.
Yeah.
Especially in this batch of episodes. Joyce is the quote-unquote dungeon master, which means she's controlling the communications at the radio station during the missions, but also she's very protective of her son, Will Byers. But not Jonathan. Like, fuck Jonathan. He can do whatever he wants. But I get why she's protective, but also they're dogging her a little bit. Derek, what did you think about Joyce in these sets of episodes?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Like, she doesn't really have anything to do anymore, right? Because her character is more of like a crisis character, right? Like, she's the weirdo crazy lady moving things along, like a pre-crisis character. And now that we're in the actual crisis, right? The event is happening. She plays more of like a support role, right? She's manning the radio, doing calls, calling out for Hopper and all these other people, that kind of stuff. I do like that they gave her an axe to swing around.
That was cool.
I thought it was a little goofy that she just walked up to Vecna and was like, leave him alone. Like, you should have died right there. Like, honestly, that would have been Joyce dying at the hands of Vecna would have sold that moment a little bit better for me, right? Because it wasn't terribly done. It was more so like Noah's acting that I think took me out of it. But I think if she would have died, plus the whole like, oh, Will is finally accepting who he is, there you go. That's how you unlock a superpower, right? So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. She's a good mom. I'll give her that. She could take a hit. She could take a tackle. That's for sure.
I will say Joyce Byers is, I think, at the heart of my biggest sin in this set of episodes. And that is the show pulling its punch by not killing her.
Yeah.
If you remember in this, like in the last episode, season 4 of season 5, Vecna kills a bunch of soldiers indiscriminately, like sets them on fire, literally takes his finger and stabs them through their eyes and stuff like that. Like literally like
Yeah.
destroys them. Joyce
Not Joyce.
Byers
He was just like,
just floats her away to the side, which I thought, that's insane. That's like, okay, I don't want to see Winona Ryder die tragically, but like, I don't think there's a good reason why Vecna would keep her alive at that point. Like, I don't know. Steph, what did you think of Joyce, specifically that scene?
I think it just proves that the adults are fair game in this season.
Mm,
So I have a feeling, well, we're going to talk about this probably later with the whole flashback that we saw, that the adults become a very important part of this story in this season. And they're going to meet probably a crazy end, a tragic end. But it's also the season where moms defend their kids with weapons
mhm,
that they have at the ready, you know?
yeah,
um, but I will say, what's her name? The other mom, Karen, she had more
Karen
of a
Wheeler.
badass fight. But that being said, yeah, Joyce should not have survived that. No way. First of all, being
yeah,
like, I'm surprised like he didn't just take him out. But then again, what Derek said before, the Demogorgon, he just left them so the Demogorgons can like kind of like piece up the, get the scraps basically.
yeah.
That's insane, though. I was like,
Yeah.
bro, come on.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way that she survives this, but she has the balls to go up and fight him anyway, so I'll give her that.
I will say, let's move on to the other adults in this show. I rewatched Stranger Things, and I must say, Karen Wheeler was a baddie in season one. I think we forget how beautiful this actress is. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Karen Wheeler in season." No, no, you guys weren't there. You guys aren't real fans. But she
Yeah.
had one of the best episodes of this, or best moments in this batch of episodes, because she took on the Demogorgon
Yeah.
by herself. She wine drunk too. Like, she was out of it.
Yeah.
I will say Ted tried to lock in with the listen. I will remember in season one where one Demogorgon was a problem.
Mhm.
They couldn't. One Demogorgon was a huge problem for the town. It was taking people out left and right. It's bulletproof and everything. The fact that Ted and Karen lasted as long as they did is a miracle and didn't die. Like, count your
Yeah.
blessings at that
They should
point.
have died. They should
Yeah,
have died.
I was for sure gonna say, like, Ted was a
Yeah.
goner. Ted was a goner.
Yeah.
He
Or you know
held his
what?
own though. He did.
But,
Like, let's
like,
give him some
dude is
credit.
no help at all this season. Like, I have yet to see anything that he does
Listen,
that is worth it.
he did fine. He did fine considering the fact that he just walked in with his golf club,
He did.
expecting probably a human,
Yeah.
expecting probably like a thief or something.
Yeah.
So I think he did okay, right? And you can't really swing a golf club the way you need to like do real damage like that. So
Right.
I think he did okay. I think Karen should have still squared up the way she did,
Right.
died, right? And I think this would have been a good kind of last minute way to have Ted become like a good parent by the end of the season, right? Like, and you show him
Yeah.
being present and not just like falling asleep on the couch and being just the financial provider, but actually like a good father or a present father rather. But I think it's fine what they did with both of them, right? In general, like it was very cool that they actually had something to do this time. I do think it's weird that they didn't know anything about the Demogorgons or the Upside Down or anything like that. Like there was no reason
Which
to hide
is
any of that.
very interesting. Okay. I do, not to be like, I saw the play, but I will say the play is way more important than I thought it would be. And one of the reasons is with Ted and Karen, because not only in the play, it's a retcon, but in season one, I think Nancy says like, "Oh, Karen married Ted because he was an older man who had a lot of money." That's not true anymore. They were in high school together, and weirdly, Karen is still very horny in the stage play, but that's beside the point. Like, it's a whole plot point, anyways. But at the school, like, I guess version of Oklahoma, which gets changed to like a different thing, right? They fully are there for a supernatural event. Mind you, they don't know what the supernatural event is, and they don't know what the fuck they're looking at. You know what I mean? But they know something's wrong in Hawkins at that point, I would say. And then it's a whole thing. But I think when Nancy said, like, why didn't we tell them sooner? especially after the entire Byers family is living in their house.
Yeah.
It makes no sense for them not to know. Like literally, the military is in Hawkins, Indiana, right?
Yeah.
They've seen like Will get taken, declared dead, and brought back to life, right? And all of this supernatural stuff. At that point, you should tell them the truth, especially if you're having the resistance in your basement.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a little rude.
Listen,
But
there's also the fact taking the whole supernatural element out of it, right? If my kid shows up to my house with a girl rocking like the early 2000s Justin Timberlake cut, where it's like that short hair, like I'm asking questions, like, where's she from? Oh, that's Jim Hopper's daughter. Like I'm assuming he formally adopted her at some point, right? Like there's so many questions that as parents they could have asked, not having anything to do with the upside down or the supernatural stuff. That it just doesn't make sense that they wouldn't know, right? Especially Karen being as involved as she has been throughout the other seasons. Quick side note: Joyce was on her period throughout all of this.
what?
What?
How do you know?
At the
What are you talking about?
at the breakfast scene, right? Where the Byers are having breakfast at the Wheeler's house. They're all eating the food and they're, hey, pass me the bacon, this, that, and the other. Joyce, over everybody, is telling Nancy, hey, Karen, do you have any Midol?
What's Midol?
It's period. It's cramp medication.
Oh my
to
gosh!
ease
Wow.
period symptoms.
I
So
don't
she's
know.
going throughout all of this basically on her period, right? Or PMSing or something, right? So
Ugh.
that I think is that was like an interesting detail that they added into there, right? As opposed to like why even address that?
Is Joyce not
Interesting.
old enough for menopause yet? How old is menopause?
That's
Whoa!
true.
Wow!
That's another good question, right? I think you can use Midol for that too, right? For some of those symptoms.
For yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's a thing. But also, like, she wouldn't have them as often as like someone my age would, right?
Right.
Yeah.
She's getting
Maybe
into that
that's what it
stage.
is. Maybe that's what it is. It's not her period, but she's like pre-menopause, so she's
Maybe.
having a tough time.
Maybe.
She's having a tough fucking time, which really just speaks to how good of a mother she is, because she mothered Derek so well. I would have been in such a bad mood throughout all of this shit, right? But she's over here like, you're
Gosh.
not a dipshit, remember, hey, you know what? I need you to trust me. Like, I would not be talking to Derek that way,
Oh my gosh. See,
But
this is
she
why
did.
you're not on Stranger Things. This is why.
Yeah.
Speaking of being covered in blood, let's talk about everyone's favorite shooter, Nancy Wheeler, which I also thought had a pretty good set of moments in this episode, because she had the moment with the tracker when no one believed that like you could shoot a tracker out of a shotgun, which is also I would
It's
hesitate
bullshit.
to do that. I would
That's
hesitate
some bullshit.
for sure. Like, it's definitely exploding into a million pieces in real life, Nancy. Like,
Yeah.
okay. But
Yeah.
also, she had great moments with her brother and I
Mhm.
didn't realize until it was happening. I was like, she doesn't talk to Mike that often
Yeah.
in the whole show. And I am surprised it took till season 5 for them to have a little adventure together, where they're in the hospital, they're trying to talk to their mom, they get the reveal that Mr. Whatsit is Henry Creel. But Nancy, pretty good ideas. She's like, I would say, the leader of the group to some degree, of the entire like resistance, if to some degree, if you will. But I think she was pretty good. What did you guys think?
Yeah, she's they don't miss with her character, I don't think, right? Like, I
Mm-mm.
don't think she's ever had a
Nancy
season
Wheeler
where it's
doesn't
like,
miss.
yeah, and
gets
she
it from her
literally
mother.
doesn't miss, right? Yeah, even just back in season 1 where Hopper's asking around, like, who can shoot the gun?
Nancy.
All the dudes are kind of like, and Nancy's like, I can, gimme. And Hopper's just like, like, that was such a cool moment.
Right.
And I think this one, yeah, you're right. They took a little too long to get her and Mike to team up. But I think that just speaks to like Mike has grown up now. They've both grown up and
Oh my
they finally get
gosh.
along,
Mike is like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, you're grown. What the fuck happened to you, man? It's so
Yeah.
interesting. I guess we'll transition into Mike Wheeler now too, who had some pretty bad moments in previous seasons, with the whole Hellfire Club, not rescheduling for Lucas, and just like kind of being girl crazy or being hyper focused on 11 as well.
Mhm.
He's coming to his own when he has to be a big brother. I think he had some really good moments, especially with what was it?
Ollie.
Holly the heroic. I thought that was really adorable and like kind of redeemed his character a little bit. Steph, what did you think of Mike Wheeler in this sets of episodes?
I think Mike in this season is more tolerable than he's ever been.
Hmm.
Um, because he, like you said, he's grown into that brother figure role. Speaking of roles, it seems like each character in this season is going to be getting their own D&D role, um, based on like the episode titles as well. Uh, but I think this, like with 11, this is probably the best side we're going to see of him. And hopefully we're
Hmm.
going to see even more because they still have to save Holly, right? And the other kids. And right in this photo that you're showing, if you're watching on YouTube, this right here just shows that he, look at Derek in the back. I'm sorry.
I love that kid. I'll
It
die for
just
Derek.
shows that like he's grown up, right? You come from season 1 when they were literally like children,
Oh,
to
gosh,
now
yeah.
is insane how much they've grown up in character and like the actor as well. Uh, but yeah, I think we're gonna be seeing probably. I feel like we're gonna see like a big sacrifice from Mike later on.
Ooh,
Could be.
interesting. Okay,
Could be.
okay. We'll do Death Watch at the end of this pod. Who do we think is going to live or die? But I'll save that for the very end. But speaking and living and dying, I think we need to have probably our most serious conversation about this sets of episodes. It brings me no pleasure to talk about this, but we have to talk about the biggest death of this season so far, and that's Lucas's hairline. What the actual fuck? I have to
Yeah.
bring this up as a black man. Black man to black man. Season 4, Lucas with the flat top was perfect.
Yeah,
But
look
mainly
good.
because the actor fought to have his real hair being used, right? I don't know if the Netflix producers brought a barber in just to do this flat top for season 4 because it was perfect in every scene. This man was getting thrown around and like trying to save the world, and that flat top never moved.
It looked good.
This what are we doing, Netflix? What are we not like? What enhance? What the fuck is this, Netflix? Like stop.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like it. Why?
Stress
Other
is
than
getting
that,
to him.
Lucas,
Stress is
like
getting to him.
maybe the barber got sucked into the earthquake last season. I don't know. The one black
The
barber
only
in Hawkins,
the only
Indiana.
black barber. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And here's the thing too. This was in the 80s before it was like popular to get a lineup, whether you were black or white or Hispanic or whatever, right? Like I grew up getting a lineup, right? I would get a
Right.
fade or and get my shit lined up. I don't do that now because I'm not a child anymore, right? Like I don't have a lineup anymore. It's just my hair. Everybody in Hawkins is white except for him and his family, right? So I think the fan theory that I've been seeing around is like he just doesn't. The barber left, he died, he moved away. Something
Died.
happened with his old barber. So now when he goes to the barber, he's trying to explain to the guy what a lineup is, and it's like it might not even be a barber shop anymore, right? It might just be like a salon or something, and they don't even. Yeah.
It was so you had it. Okay. I think here's the thing. If we're being fucking for real. If we can suspend our disbelief about like demogorgons coming from the Dimension X and all this stuff and flesh monsters, can we please just have his lineup just be good? Just fix
Yeah.
it. Just fix it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Fix it with CGI. It just clearly looks like a wig. It clearly looks like a wig. But besides that, I think Lucas had some extremely great moments in this, with him like low key coming up to the Dustin's bullies. I was like, okay, big dog.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Okay,
was
here we
dope.
go. I think he is one of the characters that has gotten better as he aged.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, wait, what? Steph, what's funny?
Forgot he's not the only black character. One of the
Erica.
His sister.
bullies. No. One of the bullies.
Oh, he
No. Do you remember in the graveyard when Dustin was at the headstone? The one that
Oh
said
yeah.
Hiya?
You know what? We Duffer
It's easier
Brothers. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
But no, I'm
It's
sorry, just
Indiana.
that one scene was so, like, stupid. Why do you
It
say
was silly.
Haya?
I don't
Hiya.
know. It's Hawkins, Indiana. But I will say, to end this conversation about Lucas, I think he's doing great.
Yeah.
The actor has gotten better at acting, unlike some other performances in this show. I
The
think now
the
go ahead, Derek.
the dick joke was fine until Lucas was like, then we'll soften it. That part was weird. That one
Yeah.
line
Yeah.
was way too
Yeah.
was like, okay, all right, like that's
Uh-huh.
what?
Uh-huh.
Do
You
you
forget
know
that
how
they're
to
in high
soften a
school.
dick? Right,
Right.
right, but you soften a dick by like servicing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, what are you talking about, my man?
Hold on.
Well,
What the fuck?
The rest was fine though.
technically, they were
The rest was fine.
servicing something.
The tunnel.
Steph.
What? The
This is a
pipes.
PG.
It
This is
didn't work,
Anyway.
but
Anyway,
Speaking of not working, I want to talk about the other person in the set of boys. Let's talk about Dustin. Um, Dustin's still hung up on season 4 of Stranger Things. He's still
yeah.
mad about Eddie's death, which is understandable, I would say. But he's one of the characters that I'm worried about, like the writers not knowing what to do with him, because I think they had that stroke of genius with pairing him with Steve, and I think it was
Mhm.
season 2, which was a great decision, right?
Yeah.
But ever since then, Dustin has been in this weird liminal space of like he hangs out more with the older cast, and we lose great moments with him with his boys, and I just wish that he could really like come into his own, except he's still angry and brooding, even though I understand where he's coming from. But at the same time, as far as I'm aware, 18 months since Eddie died. But that's a whole other thing. So, Steph, what do you think of Dustin in this sets of episodes?
it does feel like they don't know what to do with his character, whereas the other characters, they kind of have developed something for him. It seems like they want Dustin to take over, or Dustin also seems like he wants to take over the Hellfire role
Mm-hmm.
that Eddie had. And I think he has the potential to do that with how close he was with Eddie, and what he learned from him. Um, but that's kind of like where it stops for me. Like, I'm not sure where else they're going to go with his character, because we didn't really get much of his character development in the first 4 episodes of this season. We might see more later on, which I'm hoping. Because you need a conclusion with all these characters by the end of the season.
Right.
And right now I can't really see the conclusion for Dustin yet.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying my time with him for sure. Derek,
Yeah.
what'd you think of Dustin's arc in this sets of episodes?
The more I think about it, the more I'm starting to think like everybody's gonna die, and we're gonna get like some sort of time travel thing, right?
Mm.
They talked about the Einstein Rosen bridge, and I think some of the theories have talked about it. The Duffer Brothers said that Back to the Future influenced them, which there was a Back to the Future reference with Robin and when she tricks Joyce. But I don't think that's it. I think they're literally going to end up time traveling, because I think you could see every character sacrificing themselves for another character, right? I could see him at the end of this arc that him and Steve are having right now, where they're like angry at each other. I could see Dustin being the one sacrificing himself for Steve.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we already got a hint at Lucas being in danger, right? He got slashed by the Demogorgon. Mike almost was toast if it wasn't for Will. So I don't know. I think we might see like all the kids die. As for the
Whoa.
arc as for Dustin's arc in particular, right now I'm a little frustrated because I know they're gonna end up just like stop being mad at each other. So it's just kind of like annoying right now. Like I know eventually they're not gonna be mad at each other by the end of the season. But I get it. It makes sense. It sucks that he's getting bullied by it, and it does feel like the younger kids don't care as much. They're just kind of telling him to get over it, type of, stop being reckless, get over it. And Steve really is the only one that cares. So that's a nice touch. But yeah, right now it feels like they just wanted to add something to his character this season, and they gave him the angst, and that's about it.
True. One character that I did think did pretty well was Stephen Harrington in this sets of episode. I think his character has grown tremendously as like a very good supporting character. Like you can stick
Yeah.
Steve in almost any of these like makeups of like groups of characters, and Steve Harrington does like extremely well because I think they know his voice really
Yeah.
well, what his wants and goals are. I think the
Yeah.
whole fighting for Nancy thing is a little bit tired, but like if we're doing like if we're doing more than one character at once, I think Jonathan Byers has nothing to do. He hasn't had anything to do since like season 3. He's a character that has really been suffering between Steve being the more interesting of the two, to be honest with you. But I'm not feeling Jonathan Byers, but I am feeling Steve Harrington. What'd you
Yeah.
guys think?
Yeah. As for who's right for Nancy, I think Nancy's just too independent. It's neither
Mhm.
one, right? I
Yeah.
think she's gonna end up probably alone. And it does feel like Steve is genuinely just trying to be a good friend to Nancy. It's not that he's trying to compete with Jonathan for her in
Yeah.
a romantic sense. It's just more so he's trying to like wake his ass up basically and yeah, I think everything else you said was spot on, right? Like he's, I think, probably my favorite of all the characters, because
Right.
sometimes you got to get your ass whooped. That's really what it is,
Honestly.
because he was
The
a
whole
dick in season 1.
character, yeah, he
He
was a
was a
real
huge
jerk.
dick, and then he got his ass whooped, and that woke his ass up, and now he's a good dude.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of getting their ass whooped, I have to talk about, I think my favorite character in season 5 so far. I think it's Robin. Robin has such a great arc. Not
Mhm.
only not only the deployment of the radio show at the beginning of the sets of episodes, reminding everyone like what was going on, and it's just a fun, upbeat way to do that. Number 2, she has one foot in with the older cast and all that's going, but
Mhm.
she also is low key mentoring Will Byers. And her
Yeah,
mentoring low key saved the world at the end of the sets episodes,
that's
right?
true.
I think the characters know her voice really well. She's also like very essential to the makeup of the group and her ideas and stuff like that. Robin has shot to number 1, surprisingly, like one of the best uses of a character I've seen on this show in a very, very long time. Steph, oh, you're looks like you're busy. I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead. I'm
Derek,
listening.
Steph, what did you think of Robin in this episode? I didn't want to be mean and like throw to you.
No, 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 sorry. I was just responding to something. No, I will agree with you. I did enjoy Robin a lot more. I always kind of liked her character a lot just because I like to lean towards more like the comedic relief character a bit.
Right.
And she gave that, energy when she was introduced. Um, Also, like she has just a great voice. Like every time she talks, I'm like, that's such a nice voice to listen to. It's very
Right.
unique. And her parents are literally like iconic people. So that's the actress herself. But I enjoyed this side of her where she's stepping up into this mentor role for Will because I mean, at this time in the 80s, it wasn't common for people to come out like it
Right.
is now, right? Um, and so you don't find a lot of people who are just like you. And Robin has found someone that is like her closer than she thought, right? I mean, two people
Mhm.
technically with her girlfriend. But also another thing, what happened to that date? Anyway, that's a whole side.
She's not making it to Enzo's.
That's a whole side thing. But I do enjoy this mentor role that she has, and I'm hoping that we get to see more of this side of her and the like it just doesn't die here, like we keep that up in the next episodes because you can't like build up to this moment with her and Will and then kind of like plummet down and like that's it. That's all we get. That's the peak of it. So I hope they really develop it even more in the later episodes.
Right, right. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of Robin. Derek, any thoughts on Robin before I think we get to the star of this, like the last couple episodes?
She's perfect, and I would kill for her. I'd give my life for her. Her and Maya Hawke, like the actress herself, right? Like
Great, great performance.
amazing.
I think it's now time to talk about, I guess not the biggest, probably, yeah, the biggest spoiler in this sets of episodes, specifically with this character, Will Byers. I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to be rude to Noah Shaw. Somehow, I think that he settled into some bad acting choices as a
Hmm.
performer that you can still see the essence of when he was like a child. but his this sets of episodes rest on Will Byers' shoulders. And for the most part, I must say, I don't think it rises to the moment that it needs to because of his performance. It's just
Yeah.
not as strong as it needs to be honest with you. Do you guys disagree?
If you
Nope.
compare it to the other actors in this season, I think you can agree. Um,
Yeah.
he really didn't have. I mean, it was kind of like he was just having these visions, and as the closer he is to the Demogorgon or to Vecna, the more prominent these visions become and powers become. He really didn't have much besides that for like the first few episodes until like the last few where you finally see like, oh, now he actually is like meaning something. Whereas like he was kind of like not so much that important because like we already knew, you know, he had these powers. We already saw them in previous seasons, but now in the last episode, we finally got to see like him at his full potential.
As a sorcerer, I guess.
As a sorcerer, right? That's what I mean earlier when I said that it seems like each character in this season is getting their own D&D roles. Like Will is the sorcerer, and I think there was others that were referenced as well. I just can't remember them. And so we're finally seeing them in those roles. So it's becoming, I mean, it's always been since the first season, but now it's becoming like an official D&D campaign IRL, right? Like a real life
Mhm.
D&D campaign. Um, so I'm sure we're going to see a lot more. What I'm sure is going to happen is that 11 might help Will out with these powers that he now has, but it only works when he's close to Vecna, right? Like otherwise he doesn't have
I
them.
don't know. They didn't give like
That,
a lot of details. They just
that's what the
relied
speculation
on
is.
the
Yeah, it kind
we'll
of like
see. But
we'll see, but I'm gonna assume that 11's gonna help him kind of like tap into these powers. And what's gonna happen like in the last episode or whatever is that Will, 11, and number 9
Eight.
8.
8, my bad. Numbers, man. Number 8 are gonna have to like kind of connect their powers to defeat Vecna. Because
Yeah.
in I don't know what season it was, but what's her name? Hold on. Give me 1 second here. 1
8?
second. No, no, no. No. Gi-
Kali.
Give me 1 second. Because I'm terrible with names.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Um, um, hold on, hold on. We're building up to it. We're building up to it. What's Lucas's sister's name?
Erica.
Erica. Right. Okay.
Erica.
So Erica. Where are you? Erica.
Yeah, she rolls a
She
D.
rolls a 20, and she defeats Vecna. And if you add up the numbers of number 8, right? 8, 11, and Will is technically like 13, right? Not
1.
13, 12.
He's no 1.
He's 1.
You're bad at math.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, man. Hang on.
11 plus 8 is 19. So Will has to be 1.
Will has to be 1. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
The
because
theory-
Henry is 1. Henry's 1.
Right. The theory doesn't really add up. I
It
think
doesn't
people
add
just
up.
wanna
But anyway, someone has to be 1 for like them to defeat.
for the example.
For the example, yeah. This is theorizing here, guys. It's
I think
again 10 a.m.
I think Will did fine. Noah Snap did fine as a 3-eyed raven, right? I mean, sorry, as Vecna power or whatever this is.
Rough.
But again, what you were saying, Justin, right? Like the performance, unless he was on the ground screaming because he was in pain or connecting to the hive mind, or unless he was being goofy with Mike, where the lack of ability actually is good for that type of a scene, right? Where he's being awkward and trying to flirt with Mike or something. Every other scene where he's trying to be serious, if it falls short, right? Even when he's telling his mom, when he's yelling at his mom, it feels goofy, right? When he goes to apologize to his mom, it feels goofy,
Goofy.
right? Even the part where they gave him the sick eyes, right? That he's like, and he's using his powers and all that stuff. It feels goofy because it's just like, I don't know, like it doesn't hit for me. And I think part of it, at least for me specifically, is that nobody's favorite character was Will. right? Nobody's
No.
favorite character was Bran Stark, and they made him the fucking king, and people hated that. So this is what I'm saying is they've Game of Thrones season 8 this where they're trying to wrap everything up as best as they think, as like the writers and the people that have had are seeing the sausage being made, and they have these insights that are in their own heads, but I don't think it resonates with audiences the same way. So I think maybe volume 2, it's going to be less of a big deal that Will has powers, and it'll just be part of like the squad teaming up to defeat Vecna, right? It just feels this way now because this is the cliffhanger mid-season ending that we got.
Right.
But yeah, I don't hate it. I just think
But you don't love it.
I don't. Yeah, it's just kind of like, all right, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of weird powers, I do want to mention Max is alive
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the mindscape of Henry Creel's mind with Holly. Interesting. She stumbles
Yeah.
into the stage play on Broadway, which I think is very funny. But another character where I'm like, maybe perhaps unfortunately Max passed away.
Yeah.
For like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like maybe the stakes were that high and then she died. You know, like I don't know if this arc justifies it of like her deployment. You know, but another, I'm waiting to see how Max's storyline ends before I make a full judgment. So we'll see. So
Yeah, it is a nice touch that they continued the Mad Max little nickname because
Mad
she's like
Hatter,
the Mad Hatter to
right?
Holly's Alice in Wonderland. So that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of cool. She looks like Johnny Depp for sure in the little costume that they had her in. But yeah, I think it's one of those like the more I think about it, like fuck, bro, I think all the kids are dying, and this is just
Maybe.
gonna be, it's leading to some sort of a time travel. But hey, what do I know? I had a whole theory that Fast and Furious was gonna start time traveling because of how ridiculous. So I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy to talk to about time travel
They might
theories.
need to start traveling if they want to start time traveling if they want to get the last movie out. But that's a whole other podcast. So I do want to save some time at the end of this episode for Death Watch and slight predictions for next sets of episodes, which will come out on Christmas, believe it or not. But I'll give you three people. Highest number one is for sure dying. To like, not gonna die. Who's safe? So number one, who do we think is going to die in the last season of Stranger Things? Number one, I think Hopper's a goner.
Yeah.
Number
sure.
one with a bullet.
Yep.
Is anybody else gonna move that slot?
Mm-mm. I have to agree.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, Steph, who do you think number two is most likely to die in this next set of episodes?
I would say Jane. Not Jane.
11?
Not Joyce. Jay's Joyce.
So many names.
Joyce would be the number 2 possibility.
Okay, Derek,
I think all the kids die, and
you pick one.
I think it's tough. Lucas already got his shit rocked, but so I don't think he's gonna die.
Yeah.
They'd kill the one black character.
Yeah,
we'll
they
talk
can't
about
do that.
Erica.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Erica
Eric
too.
replaces
Yeah.
him. They can't have two. You can't have two. You gotta.
Oh gosh.
No,
Not
I can see it
delightful
being
Derek.
Dustin. No. If Delightful Derek dies, we riot. I will boycott Netflix. Okay. That boy is a child. Okay.
These are all
I think all
children
of
that you're
those
talking
kids-
about.
Sorry, hold on. The little kids, right? The new Vecna victims.
Yeah.
I think they'll end up being safe. When I say the kids are dying, I mean like the main cast: Mike, Will, Lucas, Dustin. Yeah. So I don't know. I could see Dustin and Steve having a Black Widow Hawkeye competition on who's gonna sacrifice themselves first.
Mm.
So and I think Steve will end up being.
Oh.
No, they can't do that to Dustin either because
I think Jonathan Byers is up there too, because he with the ring too.
Oh, yeah, true.
That'd be so
You
sad.
know what
man.
happens with people who try to make plans on this show?
That's true.
Goners. So
That's true.
yeah, I think that's our death watch for this episode, and we will be back, I believe, next week with like kind of a normal show. Hopefully, probably some news will happen in between then. Any last minute predictions before we close this out, or any last minute thoughts about this section of episodes in season 5?
I think there's definitely going to be some time travel that we're going to see. With the whole
true.
mention of it. And because there's
Mhm.
like quite a few hints at time travel in these first 4 episodes that we see. Um, I really wish that the audience that has not seen the play gets a chance to see it. Like, I wish they recorded it and released it, because
They might have
they
done a
they
pro
might. It's
shot.
kinda like they also said that the play is gonna be much more important in the later episodes, and it's like, well, if you're saying that, then you gotta release a digital version of it because
Well, yeah, they'll
not
do that
everyone.
next year.
Yeah, yeah, not
They gotta get
everyone
their
can go.
Broadway money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I looked at the
Yeah.
prices, they aren't that bad for the cheapest
It's a pretty
ones,
good
but
show.
I am not gonna pay that money right now to go see it, no matter how close I am to New York, but not everyone is close to New York to go see it,
True.
so I think they should really think about recording or at least, like, give a synopsis or something or,
Something.
something that makes us understand these references in the later episodes, so
True. All right. I think that is the end of our show. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys had a great time enjoying Stranger Things with us. We will be back next week and the next set of episodes, hopefully after Christmas, not on Christmas. We have families to celebrate with. And make sure you follow us on the socials: TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Bye.